Hi, Sven here. So today I'd like to take a steady look in 6 small parts about how we might master our minds. In some ways, while I'm a huge optimist and I think we live in the most exciting of times, we could argue that the 21st century really has all been about losing our minds with anxiety disorders, depression, ADHD, autism, people talking about non-diagnostic issues such as burnout, nervous breakdowns, and the rest. It's a messy time. So I'm going to take this in 6 parts. As I said, the first part is an introduction to what would it mean to master our minds. How do we understand this thing called mind, which is based in the functioning of the brain, which is housed by the body? And how do I keep this as simple and as clear as possible so that you can actually do something with it? So to move away from losing our minds, we need to know what is gaining our minds, what is mastering our minds. My sense of this over a career of working it out in sport, in military, in business, in training, in coaching, is that the base of mastering your mind is metacognition. So if metacognition is the base, we're learning to view thinking as an object. The next step, our foundation, is attention. That ability to control the focusing of your mind so that you can hold full focus on what matters. And of course, the world is full of stimulants, which make us focus from one thing to the next. And as you know, as anyone finishes a meeting or a conference or a piece of work, the first thing they do is pick up the phone and stimulate their attention once again with the dopamine rush from a device. Right? So attention is pushed too hard. We need to reclaim that attention. And that requires us stepping up to the next level, which is recovery, or what I like to term rhythm. The ability to know that a good mind operates really well when it's focused for a reasonable period of time for that particular mind. And then it knows how to rest, how to recover, how to refuel so that it can go and switch on to the next task with full focus once again. And that recovery or rhythm is perhaps one of the most missing elements of our healthy minds today. The fourth is what I term reframing. To understand that simplistic, cheap, or what Daniel Kahneman called type 1 thinking. I'm just an idiot. I've always been clumsy. These are really stupid thoughts, which we can capture as an object and say, wow, actually, that's not entirely accurate. The question we answer in part 4 is how do we reframe sloppy thinking into what we term type 2 or more constructive, positive thinking. And of course, that reframe or the mental mindset, that skill to be situationally agile, allows you to step into flow. And interestingly, in the flow state, while your brain itself is very engaged, the actual conscious thinking fades away. So you're fully engaged in a task, and your performance in that task is both uplifting and satisfying. You can increase your function by 5 times in that flow state. And then just to be sensible, we should know what happens when we lose our minds. So if we think about that simply, the beginning of that downward spiral is the loss of attention. All right, 1 minute I'm with you, next minute I'm gone. Now, that failure of attention is quite normal and natural. As we said, the mind works in a rhythm. All right, so we need to be aware that attention failure creates a cluster of opportunities for mental health disorders. So your ADHD, your adult attention deficit trait, or just simply loss of concentration can be factors here. The next step down, if we're not paying attention to life, is that fear takes control. And fear in your body drives worry, anxiety disorders, and of course, that's where you can have a full anxiety disorder, panic attacks, or just low-grade worry and fear. Now, if we can't escape a situation with fear, those emotional reactions tend to move towards anger. Anger takes control of your life, and we act out with rage, with frustration, with impatience. And if that anger fails to deliver the goods, we collapse into sadness. Sadness controls us. We lose energy. We may burst into tears. We feel sad. We may even feel depressed. So right at the heart of mastering our minds is the ability to understand the consequences of not doing that and knowing how to bounce. So when we are captured by sadness, how do we acknowledge, enjoy that sadness, learn from that sadness, but move to a more appreciative, learning, positive state? Right? That's an emotional reframe. When we're in anger, we need to move towards kindness. When we're in fear, we need to move towards calm or curiosity. And when we lose attention, we need to move back into focus.